We're broadcasting live from our Montreux studios in Bulawayo. Good evening and welcome to the main news. Marilyn Gwenya. Nobumonga is interpreting the bulletin in sign language. Let's take a look at the headlines. National Assembly conducts a first reading of Constitutional Amendment Number 3 bill this Tuesday. In other news, Zimbabwe reaffirms commitment to global peace efforts ahead of United Nations General Assembly elections. In arts news, a government push to professionalize the creative industry gains traction. Zimbabwe cricket name squad for Bangladesh tour this month. That and more in sport. Those are your headline stories for tonight. Let's take a look at our leading story, where Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Minister Honorable Ziyambi Ziyambi has made the first reading of the Constitutional Amendment Number 3 bill in the National Assembly.
The Constitution of Zimbabwe Amendment Number 3, HB 1/2026.
What began as a mere ambition, which was eventually known as Resolution Number 1 by the ruling ZANU-PF party at the Bulawayo National People's Conference in 2024, morphed into the Constitutional Amendment Number 3 bill, which has now found its way into the National Assembly. And as all eyes turned towards the new Parliament building in Mount Hampton this afternoon, the Minister of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs made the first reading of the proposed law, which has captured the attention of the nation, signaling the start of the legislative processes within the lower house.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to present the Constitution of Zimbabwe Amendment Number 3 Bill of 2026.
The bill was gazetted on the 16th of February after being approved by Cabinet 6 days earlier on the 10th of February. And for Zimbabwe, the first reading signals more than just a mere adherence to parliamentary procedure, but rather the beginning of a process that, if validated, will result in a significant number of constitutional changes, such as a shift in how the country chooses its president from a direct election to a parliamentary method, an extension of the electoral cycle, and a change in the voters' roll management from the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission to the Registrar General's office.
The bill, Mr. Speaker, introduces a set of constructive reforms that, taken together, reinforce constitutional governance, strengthen democratic structures, clarify institutional mandates, and harmonize Zimbabwe's constitutional order with tested and successful practices.
Well, 100 days later, the first reading by Honorable Ziyambi Ziyambi also opens the door to debate over the bill following the second reading speech by the former, which is expected tomorrow. But what was clear was the obvious anticipation for debate by the honorable members of Parliament. And at this point, one cannot help but expect this august house to be a hive of activity this Wednesday. Panashe Nagoli, ZBC News, Harare.
Political analysts say the first reading of the Constitutional Amendment Number 3 bill in Parliament this Tuesday builds on other processes that are testimony to Zimbabwe's commitment to democratic process.
For the past months, the public has exercised its democratic right through the participation in public hearings under the 90-day window period regarding the Constitutional Amendment Number 3 bill. Today's formal introduction of the bill to Parliament signals the work ahead for parliamentarians. Political analysts believe Zimbabwe under the Second Republic has come of age in terms of democratic processes, putting the country on the global affairs as the process was seamless.
This is a high-fidelity signal that is being presented to the world, testimony to the evolving and maturing constitutional and democratic processes that we adhere to as Zimbabweans collectively. Adhering to our constitutional processes and also making sure that Parliament plays its oversight and legislative role to enact laws.
The constitutional provisions as dictated by the Constitution in terms of how to amend the Constitution have been followed to the letter. Hundreds and thousands of our people have been contributing to what their views are in respect of the Constitutional Amendment Bill number 3. It was a parliamentary-driven process where the whole process is controlled and directed by Parliament. And indeed, our people throughout the country, in 4 corners of the country, have been participating in the shaping of the Constitutional Amendment Bill number 3, and they've been giving it a thumbs up.
Now that CAP 3 has been tabled before Parliament, it gives parliamentarians an opportunity to ventilate and proffer solutions regarding the 22 clauses within the bill. All the 22 clauses within the bill will come under rigorous parliamentary process to ensure they meet the aspirations of Zimbabweans. Bruce Chawanda, SABC News, Harare.
Government has made a bold statement to protect children against cyber violence after approving a national online child protection policy. The position was announced during a post-cabinet media briefing in Harare this Tuesday.
In the era of digital transformation, where children are having early exposure to digital technologies, some as early as 6 years, the impact of social media continues to be immense on this younger generation, exposing them to serious threats such as online abuse, sexual exploitation, and deepfakes. In order to circumvent some of the challenges resulting from social media and their resulting impact, government has adopted a Zimbabwe National Online Child Protection Policy targeted to address some of these emerging issues resulting from digital technologies. This latest position was presented during a post-cabinet media briefing convened in Harare this Tuesday.
The policy will achieve the following: to provide a single national framework for government, private sector, academia, and communities at large in keeping children safe online; to ensure that all decisions and matters relating to children's experiences in the digital space are aligned with the Constitution of Zimbabwe and Children's Act, Chapter 5.06, and promote accountability in all sectors of the society, conditions and practical steps to mitigate online risks that children may face. Going forward, government will promulgate relevant legislation with enforceable sanctions in order to safeguard the children.
Zimbabwe has a vibrant youth dividend, and government has moved to harness the potential of this subsector by coming up with a national youth policy that will run from 2026 to 2030. The overall objective is to come up with robust mechanisms to support the youth.
In a strategic departure from the previous policy version, the National Youth Policy 2026 to 2030 boldly prioritizes interventions to address the following emerging issues: drug and substance abuse and mental health care, technological innovations, artificial intelligence and automation, and climate change. The policy opens up new entrepreneurship frontiers for youth-led enterprises through the provision of concrete mechanisms for financing, incubation, business development services, and market linkages.
Other important highlights are emerging from this post-cabinet media briefing focused on the Zimbabwe National Water Authority Amendment Bill, which streamlines the operations of ZINWA.
The principles will specifically entail the streamlining of ZINWA's dual and conflicting roles of regulator and service provider. The regulatory function will be removed and transferred to the ministry, with ZINWA evolving into a pure service-providing agency of government.
Cabinet also considered the Water Act Amendment Bill to realign the Water Act with the Constitution and position it with the current development agenda. Theophilus Chuma, SABC News, Harare.
As the United Nations General Assembly prepares to elect 5 incoming non-permanent members of the Security Council this Wednesday, Zimbabwe has reaffirmed its commitment to multilateralism, international cooperation, and the maintenance of global peace and security, as well as constructive engagement.
In under 24 hours, the United Nations General Assembly will hold elections for 5 non-permanent seats to the Security Council. With 7 countries in contention, Africa is represented by its sole candidate, Zimbabwe. Latin America and the Caribbean are backing Trinidad and Tobago, while the Philippines and Kazakhstan are vying for Asia, with the Western European and others group represented by Portugal, Austria and Germany. The President, Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa's Special Envoy, Professor Hebon Murwira, who is also the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, says Zimbabwe has a consistent message as a peace-loving nation committed to international law, diplomacy as a tool for conflict resolution and support for the UN Charter.
We are very busy canvassing for support and reminding people that Zimbabwe, what Zimbabwe stands for. Basically, Zimbabwe stands for a peaceful world that respects international law, that is promoting peaceful coexistence among nations, that is promoting diplomacy over confrontation, that is through peaceful resolution of disputes, as demanded by our Constitution.
Professor Murwira also spoke of how nations should unite in fighting the negative effects of climate change.
If we want a peaceful world, we have to fight the scourge of climate change. And it can only be done in a multilateral environment. Zimbabwe believes in the efficacy and sustainability of a multilateral environment where nations sit together on a table and speak.
The President's Special Envoy also highlighted that throughout Zimbabwe's campaign, the message of trade cooperation has also been highlighted. The election of the UNSC non-permanent members will take place via a secret ballot in the General Assembly Hall this Wednesday. A member is elected after attaining 2/3 majority of the votes of all the present and voting members. Olina Ndori, ZBC News.
Construction works at the Msasa interchange at the intersection of Harare Drive and Mutare Road have commenced. The road section at Msasa Jaggers is now closed to pave way for the roadworks, with government targeting to complete the project by November this year.
The Greater Harare Interchanges project was put in place to deal with the issue of congestion along some of Harare's major roads. Along the Harare-Mutare Highway, there are certain points that are known to be problematic for motorists, particularly during peak hours. These include the Mavuku turn, where government stepped in last year, and now work is underway for the construction of the Mavuku interchange. Another problematic area is the Masasa Jaggers area at the corner of Mutare Road and Harare Drive. As of this Monday, the 1st of June, this section has been closed with detours being opened, and this is to allow for the construction of an interchange that will ease the burden of congestion. What the motorists using this route would like to know is, when will this project be completed? While noting concern about the delays that are being caused by the detours that have been created, they appreciate that this is for the greater good.
Makonjesheni aitotirwadzawo ari kutiremera iwaya, especially tikangoona nguva yakuenda kumapiki awa tirikurwadziwa tikuremerwa zvakatonyanyisa. Saka tikatoona vari kutidaisoka tinofara zvakaipa. Road yagara ine traffic ine congestion is serious kubva nekudhara, so I think improvement ingeri nani.
The government has assured motorists that they will work with utmost speed.
This is another node in the city where there was serious congestion, and we are then constructing an interchange which is going to see the separation of traffic. So the road that we are currently standing on right now, which is the Harare-Mutare stem, is going to be then raised to separate the traffic from Harare Drive that will be going underneath. So we are targeting to complete these works by 30 November this year, 2026. Noting that this is part of our broader road development program, where we are also coinciding these works with the Mavuku interchange. The reason why we have started on the 1st of June and not earlier was because we wanted to ensure that be it materials, equipment, everything was in place. Because we absolutely understand that this is a very busy node, and we have various of our citizenry that commutes on a day-to-day, be it going to work, going to school, or any other services that they may be accessing. So as government, it's very important for us to ensure that we meet to these timelines and we cause as minimal amount of discomfort and inconvenience as possible to the motoring public.
As work at the Masaso Jaggers interchange commences, work here at the Mavuku interchange is now at 38% completion, and according to the government official, they are within the targeted timeframes.
We are still targeting to complete it in September, but of course we are then going to open it to traffic together with the Masasa interchange, so that there's a full benefit of the motoring public for the whole leg.
So the government officials have assured motorists who use this route that all the resources needed are in place. Hence, the work will be like clockwork and they will meet the set deadlines. Josephine Mukio, CBC News, Harare.
The President, Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa's declaration of a state of disaster on major rivers affected by siltation and environmental degradation across the country has set the tone for vibrant restoration of agriculture, tourism, environment ecosystems, as well as creation of jobs for surrounding communities.
A few months when we visited this dam to assess the water levels just at the end of this summer cropping season, the local community led by Chief Negomo highlighted the rampant land degradation and alluvial gold mining activities happening at the upstream of this dam as the root cause affecting the water catchment of Mazoe Dam. Several rivers in the country have been affected by alluvial gold mining activities. This has prompted President Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa to declare a national state of disaster for major rivers that has been affected, paving way for the rehabilitation of these rivers. Here in concession, one of the companies mandated to conduct the river rehabilitation pilot project at Mrozi River has covered a lot of ground. The company's site manager, Desire Murewa, explains progress made so far towards revitalizing the river's ecosystem.
The river was heavily silted due to artisanal mining that was happening upstream, but we managed to desilt over 4 kilometers of that river. Now water is flowing smoothly.
This project has so far managed to employ over 40 people, including women and youths.
Rukova rwedu rwakanga rwazara madhaga ruchikonzereswa nemagod panels. Saka tikuona mvura yakufamba zvakanaka.
Some of my youth vanenge vari exposed to drug abuse, but right now takukwanisa kushanda.
Takwanisawo kuendesa vana kuchikoro.
Some of the rivers that will go under rehabilitation under this new statutory instrument 91 of 2026 include the Mazoe and Save rivers in Mashonaland East Province, Angwa Sanyati Munyati and Mfore rivers in Mashonaland West Province, Aroni and Nyamukwarara in Manicaland Province. Tendai Munengwa, CBC News.
Zimbabwe and Italy are keen to strengthen bilateral relations with the two countries, exploring new opportunities for cooperation in trade, education, culture, and development. This emerged during celebrations marking the 80th anniversary of the Italian Republic held in Harare this Tuesday.
The celebrations provided more than a reflection on Italy's Republican journey. They offered a glimpse into an evolving partnership between Zimbabwe and Italy, anchored on skills development, cultural exchange, and shared economic aspirations. Italian Ambassador to Zimbabwe said the two countries are expanding cooperation through initiatives that invest in human capital, innovation, and sustainable development.
Italy has been, is, and will be a solid and trusty ally of Zimbabwe, a country with which we share a long-standing friendship and closeness. Italian companies have done many projects in the infrastructure sector, such as the Kariba Dam in the Zambezi River, which is a signal of the legacy and friendship of our two countries.
The government of Zimbabwe welcomed the growing engagement, describing Italy as a valued partner in efforts to drive industrialization, investment, and economic transformation.
Your support through initiatives like the Matei Plan, which is championing equal energy partnerships and technology transfer, among others, resonates deeply with our aspirations for economic sovereignty and industrialization under the Second Republic's visionary agenda of being an upper middle income society by 2030. Today, our partnership thrives across multiple fronts.
Beyond diplomacy, the commemorations highlighted the growing connections between the two nations with a joint fashion showcase by Italian and Zimbabwean designers, illustrating how cultural exchange continues to strengthen bilateral relations. Patience Nyagato, ZBC News, Harare.
And now do remember, for more news, you can log on to our website, zbcnews.co.zw. You can also visit our X handle at ZBC News Online. On Facebook, we are at ZBC News Online. And of course, our YouTube channel, we are at ZBC News Online. And now a look at stories still to come in this bulletin. In arts news, government push to professionalize creative industry gains traction. Zimbabwe Cricket names squad for Bangladesh tour this month. That and more in sports. And our main news is off to a break. We will be right back.
We've always known what it takes to grow. But this is what it feels like to finally step inside the dream. It's that quiet moment when a room holds everything it used to be and everything it made possible. That this is actually mine feeling when the first payment hits. That pure adrenaline from a small space to an empire you rule. And when you said you'd almost sleep in your first car, we made sure you actually did. Plans may adapt, circumstances will evolve, but your growth, that's non-negotiable. Bank on growth with Stanbic Bank Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is our home, and we drive her growth.
Stanbic Bank is a registered commercial bank and a member of the Deposit Protection Scheme.
Every day, millions of moments travel through the air. A call home, a payment made, a lesson learned, a life saved. But behind each moment is something steady, something quiet, unseen, unshaken, powering connection, supporting lives. This is Econet Infraco, Zimbabwe's largest private infrastructure group, comprising towers, power, and real estate. We build and operate the essential systems that hold the country together with scale, certainty, and purpose. We bring together three powerful engines of progress under one roof. Towers that carry the signal, clean energy that keeps it alive, and foundations that hold it all in one place. Because behind every connection, every transaction, every step forward, there's a quiet force. Econet Infraco, built for resilience, designed for growth.
Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you are watching the main news. In our following report, Zimbabwe's media sector is undergoing significant transformation driven by reforms aimed at expanding access to information, strengthening media viability, and embracing digital innovation. We move on to the next report, where government says it remains committed to aligning national events with community development, citing decentralization of National Independence Day celebrations as a springboard for implementation of impactful legacy projects.
In 2022, Zimbabwe decentralized its national independence commemorations to provinces, a move that has since catalyzed infrastructure development through legacy projects. The Midlands province, which hosted the 2025 edition in Gokwe, has since benefited through schools construction and roads, among other projects. Now, the Independence Ball held prior to the main celebrations have cushioned vulnerable communities, with Quaker Prison the latest beneficiary.
Mauya zvakare kuzoti gamuchidza zvipo zvichizadzikisa donzvo kana kuti mandra yevision 2030 of leaving no place and no one behind.
Zvichatibetsera isu seprovince nekuti tatakatarisana nekuti pano tinovapa chii pamazuva anotevera, but nekuda kweruoko rwenyu rwamaisa honorable minister tichameka sure kuti zvinhu izvi zvichabatsira vazukuru vedu.
Government says the Independence Ball goes beyond celebrations, but bringing tangible results for vulnerable sections of society.
Social protection programs remain a core component of the new dispensation. Milestone transformational GDP growth accelerator development projects that includes roads, port of entry, power generation. In view of the foregoing, the Midlands province remains resolute, steadfast in support of the President as he leads us to Vision 2030.
The initiative aligns with the Second Republic's development philosophy of ensuring that national programs impact on ordinary citizens, from infrastructure to social safety, while leaving no one and no place behind. Wellington Makonese, ZBC News, Kwekwe.
Matabeleland South is strengthening border surveillance mechanisms as part of interventions aimed at curbing drug trafficking.
On the 30th of May, the Zimbabwe Public Police intercepted and arrested 5 suspects along the Bulawayo-Solusi road who were transporting 300 kgs of dagga believed to having been smuggled from South Africa via Botswana into Zimbabwe. In the same month, 200 kgs of dagga and 10 boxes of coffee syrup were recovered in a cross-border bus in Beitbridge. Another trio was also arrested along the Beitbridge-Bulawayo road, carrying 120 kgs of dagga this month. These are just examples of how effective the surveillance along the borders in Matabeleland and South has been in the fight against drug and substance abuse.
The Provincial Committee also told Plumtree Border Post to appreciate existing border surveillance mechanisms and interventions aimed at combating drug trafficking, illegal smuggling, and related cross-border criminal activities. The existing facilities at the border includes baggage scans, scans for heavy vehicles, the dog kennel section, as well as the drone operational station. All these are meant to minimize the movement of illicit substance across the border.
Another worrying trend is that the abuse of drugs and substances is now cutting across all age groups, with 3 people having been diagnosed with psychosis as a result of crystal meth use. As part of efforts to combat drug and substance abuse, plans are underway to rehabilitate and upgrade the Provincial Rehabilitation Center in Gwanda, with 25 million ZiG having been disbursed. Providence Maronelli, ZBC News, Gwanda.
Meanwhile, the fight against drug and substance abuse is gaining momentum across the country, with the law enforcement agents intensifying awareness campaigns in communities identified as vulnerable to crime and social challenges.
The fight against drug and substance abuse is gathering steam, with police taking the latest awareness to Mukaradzi mining settlement in Mount Darwin in a bid to leave no one and no place behind the anti-crime crusade. The Mukaradzi mining community welcomed the engagement, highlighting that reducing crime will enable them to focus on their core business. The awareness campaign brought together various departments, including the Criminal Investigations Department, Drugs and Narcotics Unit, the Minerals, Flora and Fauna Unit, Zimbabwe Republic Police and other stakeholders who emphasized the importance of adhering to the law and maintaining peace within mining communities.
Our visit to Mashonaland Central Province is a team from Police General Headquarters working together with a team from Mashonaland Central Zetarapi Province. We went through artisanal mining areas. The first port of call was the Mukaradzi mining area. We realized that we should talk about issues to do with the drug abuse, which is very important to our youth, bringing awareness to them.
Authorities say community participation remains critical in the fight against drug and substance abuse, gender-based violence and other criminal activities, urging residents to work closely with law enforcement agents in promoting safety and sustainable development. Tapiwa Machemedze, ZBC News, Mount Darwin.
The 5 drug peddling suspects who were arrested at the weekend have appeared at West Commonwealth Magistrate Court in Bulawayo. The co-accused were charged with unlawful possession and transportation of dacha when they appeared in court this Monday. Circumstances are that Gordon Ngou, aged 58, Nkosiabo Moyo, aged 57, Shepherd Ngomo, aged 43, Bevan Sibanda, aged 40, and Isaiah Moyo, aged 31, were intercepted along Bulawayo Solusi Road while driving a vehicle whose trailer allegedly had 360 kgs of loose dacha valued at 10.8 million ZiG. The dacha was allegedly smuggled from South Africa through Botswana. During court proceedings, the state informed the court that investigations are still underway and a forensic report confirming the nature of the seized substances is yet to be completed. The court subsequently remanded the matter to the 10th of this month for continuation and presentation of the forensic report. The co-accused remain in custody pending the determination of their bail application and further court proceedings. And now moving on to other news, the government is intensifying the digital transformation agenda through the development of an integrated whole of government monitoring, evaluation and learning system expected to strengthen accountability, improve service delivery and accelerate the attainment of Vision 2030.
Senior government officials are responsible for monitoring, evaluation and learning have gathered in Kariba for a workshop aimed at developing the whole of government monitoring, evaluation and learning system known as WOGMEOSA. Convened by the Office of the President and Cabinet, the workshop seeks to create an integrated digital platform that will enable real-time monitoring of government programs and development outcomes as Zimbabwe implements the National Development Strategy 2 NDS2.
These workshops marks a landmark milestone in the government's evolution toward a digitally integrated state. By transforming to data-driven governance, the administration is establishing the real-time capabilities required to monitor national development performance, dissolve institutional silos, and accelerate high-impact service delivery outcomes.
The system is expected to strengthen monitoring of government interventions and improve the effective implementation of NDS2.
We have got integrated development planning, program budgeting, monitoring, evaluation and planning, personnel performance system. These are the key components of the IRBM. So IRBM forms the foundation of monitoring and evaluation.
In a speech read on her behalf by Mashonaland West Provincial Secretary, Mr. Josephat Jaji, Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Honorable Marian Chombo said, government remains committed to digital transformation and results-based governance.
User-driven digital transformation recognizes that successful government systems must be designed around the practical realities, operational needs and service delivery expectations of users themselves. It acknowledges that the effectiveness and sustainability of any whole of government monitoring, evaluation and learning system depends on the active participation of those who generate, manage and utilize government information across government institutions.
Once fully implemented, WOGMails is expected to improve how government tracks progress, identifies implementation gaps, and strengthens institutional learning, supporting the country's drive towards Vision 2013. Tamuka Charakupa, ZBC News, Kariba.
Construction of workspaces to accommodate small businesses in Chirezi is progressing steadily, with the Zimbabwe Chamber of SMEs constructing structures set to house at least 5,000 SMEs by the end of the year.
Construction works are in progress for more complexes meant for SMEs in Chirezi, a development described as a step towards ensuring formalization of small businesses, which contribute over 60% to the country's gross domestic product. At least 2,000 small business operators in the Lowveld have been accommodated in proper workspaces, with the Zimbabwe Chamber of SMEs setting an ambitious target of constructing more complexes that house at least 3,000 more by the end of this year.
She contributes in terms of infrastructure development, she contributes formalization. It means we can formalize our SMEs.
We want to utilize land. Tinogara tichikumbira land kukanso pamwe tongopiwa area yokuti tinoona kuti vanhu vedu havakwani. We have decided kuti tiite an upstairs where we are going to accommodate vamwe vanhu vanenge vatadza kukwana pasi.
The operators testify that having safe and reliable workspaces does not only boost their businesses, but also gives them dignity in line with the government's inclusive development agenda. Government has been working with various stakeholders to ensure the formalization of SMEs, acknowledging their contribution to the national economy. Fungai Jaichi, ZBC News, Chirezi.
The National AIDS Council is strengthening the fight against HIV and AIDS in various parts of the country, with peer education emerging as a critical tool to encourage behavioral change.
The 10 to 24 age group has been identified as the most vulnerable demographic cluster when it comes to HIV infection. This has prompted the National AIDS Council to use peer education to fight the epidemic, with the Brother to Brother program proving to be an ideal model in dealing with the challenge in Bulawayo. During these sessions, young people get to learn about HIV in an edutainment manner.
B2B njengoba ngiqalise ukujoyina last year sengile-graduate. Okwasinceda kakhulu thina ukuthi besilokudlala ibhora besitshona phandle like sisenza ama-drugs besibhema imbanje then sananzelela ukuthi youth center space esisafe then sabuya sangena ama-sessions kancane kancane wayehla base ngi-drug addict sayehla kancane khathi sesi-right.
Mina uthi ngize ngene ngathi ngangijoyinisiwe ngichazwa ukuthi kuyenza umngani wami sichazwa ibunandi uthi ngiyafika endlini umama nxa ikhuluma ngiphendule.
It also offers a platform for talent identification and nurturing.
I'm picking a city, I'm picking a UK star, I'm picking a flow, I'm picking a goal. They know I'm a born freezer.
The National AIDS Council NAC says the focus on the boy child is deliberate, as data shows a high HIV positivity rate among boys in that age.
If you look at the HIV positivity rates that are measured from our health centers, you will find that the boys have got a higher HIV positivity than the girls. Hence, we give the brother-to-brother program a higher priority.
Furthermore, the project seeks to ensure that young people are also attached to health services, or they are referred for health services. We know that men have got poor health-seeking behavior. So the project seeks to reinforce that at a tender age.
The Brother-to-Brother program targets young boys and men aged between 10 and 24 years. Lisa Korira, ZPC News, Bulawayo.
A major infrastructure facelift is underway across Zimbabwe's conservation landscapes, signaling a new era of modernized wildlife management and community development.
At the heart of the current development phase is a new housing project for Zimbabwe Parks and Wildlife Management Authority staff aimed at replacing substandard accommodation with modern, high-quality facilities. The project manager reports that the initiative, backed by an over 460,000 euros investment from the Kavango Zambezi Transfrontier Conservation Area, is on the home stretch, with the final structure phases being implemented ahead of immediate deadline.
We are now on 80%. Expected finish date is 30 June, and the outstanding works right now is interior painting, exterior painting.
In addition to housing, the strategic partnership has facilitated the construction of the one-stop pavilion, the rehabilitation of Maitengwe Dam, alongside deployment of law enforcement vehicles to combat human-wildlife conflict.
That money has gone into staff welfare issues of our rangers. We've just witnessed already the start of a 10 ranger unit accommodation, which will be able to accommodate 20 families. In community development, because we are also ensuring that there is a balance between conservation and development.
From a policy perspective, government views the upgrade of ranger accommodations as a fundamental prerequisite for successful natural resource governance.
We are also looking at the infrastructure, the other infrastructure, which is our roads, schools, infrastructures in schools within the transfrontier conservation areas. We will also be appealing to our funders to make sure that we come up with a proper infrastructure which is really of international standards.
This infrastructure drive is part of a broader, synchronized strategy by CASA TFCA to elevate operational standards across its 5 partner states, linking wildlife protection directly to broader socio-economic development.
When you're talking infrastructure, it's infrastructure that is going to contribute to conservation and development outcomes. And these are some of the expressed, strongly felt needs across the partner states. And Zimbabwe has really demonstrated very well here, working with a local contractor, delivering a very high quality output.
Zimbabwe also plans to use the success of the CASA-funded models as a blueprint for its entire national conservation network. Yolanda Moyo, ZBC News, Victoria Falls.
We now give you that report where Zimbabwe's media sector is undergoing significant transformation driven by reforms aimed at expanding access to information, strengthening media viability and embracing digital innovation. This was emphasized at a belated World Press Freedom Day symposium held at the University of Zimbabwe this Tuesday.
As Zimbabwe accelerates efforts to modernize its media landscape, stakeholders are calling for a journalism sector that not only informs the public, but also promotes peace, embraces digital transformation, and contributes to national development. These issues took center stage at a belated World Press Freedom Day Symposium held at the University of Zimbabwe under the theme Journalism, Peace Building, Digital Transformation, and Media Viability in Zimbabwe. Representing the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Mr. Nick Mangwana, Director, Media and Information Services, Mr. George Chisoko said, government remains committed to creating an enabling environment for media freedom through policy and legislative reforms.
By the end of this year, Zimbabwe is said to have 41 licensed community radio stations, one of the highest numbers in the region. This achievement, ladies and gentlemen, follows the gazetting of 18 additional stations, a move that significantly expands our broadcasting footprint and signals a deliberate shift towards decentralizing access to information. Already, 22 community radio licenses have been issued, with 14 stations on air, reaching an estimated 2 to 3 million listeners in rural and marginalized communities.
The role of journalism in shaping national conversations and fostering social cohesion was a key focus of the symposium's panel discussion.
Journalism itself is an opportunity to communicate the manner in which a society is dealing with those conflicts, the manner in society is addressing conflict with a view to find progress.
In 1994, media is quoted in history of having sparked one of the historic and sad developments in Rwanda. In terms of rebuilding the narrative of Rwanda, they made an intentional decision to say, we have gone through this. How are we going to change the narrative? How are we going to use the same tool that was used to bring down to build again?
As Zimbabwe's media sector navigates the opportunities and challenges of the digital era, stakeholders say collaboration between government, media institutions, academia, and citizens will be critical in building a vibrant, sustainable, and responsible media landscape. Abigail Tembo, ZBC News, Harare.
And that report takes us to a break. We will be back with business news.
June to 19 July, everything can wait. The FIFA World Cup 2026. Catch all 104 matches from as little as $10. Live on SuperSport, only on DSTV.
Zim Digital set-top box decoders with all the 7 local television channels and 6 national radio stations are now available for sale. The decoder will give you viewers access to ZBC News, ZBC TV, ZBC Jive TV, 3K TV, Kiona TV, NRTV and ZTN Prime. No subscription is needed as all the channels are free to view. For $25 United States or the Zig equivalent, the decoder comes with a cable plus indoor and outdoor antenna. The decoders are available at the Broadcasting Authority of Zimbabwe bars, Transmedia, and all the TV broadcasters.
Welcome back. We now move on to business news, where government has reaffirmed its commitment to supporting initiatives that advance women's economic empowerment and participation in mainstream economic activities.
The full participation of women in the manufacturing sector has been described as an economic imperative essential for driving industrial competitiveness and unlocking the full potential of the manufacturing sector. An engagement on Zimbabwe women in manufacturing in Harare this Tuesday highlighted strategies for scaling up female-led small to medium enterprises and integrating them into mainstream value chains.
We got brought together all these partners that we know have the capacity to push the agenda of Zimbabwe women in manufacturing, which is empowering women in manufacturing, inclusivity of other women, to inspire women and motivate them to join manufacturing.
It opens interactions with other departments, government departments and other private sector team players. In Waine's business, I would say it's mainly a male-dominated sector. So platforms such as this ones expose you to the whole value chain process, whereby you also get to identify certain players in the industry who can help you as a woman.
Government says sustainable industrial growth cannot be achieved without the meaningful participation of women.
Across Zimbabwe, women are transforming raw materials into finished products, pioneering agro-processing, textiles, packaging, cosmetics, and construction-related industries. They are creating jobs, expanding markets, and proving that women possess both the vision and the capability to thrive across the manufacturing value chain.
We are launching and activating a powerful vehicle for inclusive growth, structural transformation, sustainable economic empowerment that will uplift our industrial base, produce a steady growth rate for the manufacturing sector and even contribution to GDP.
Chinese ambassador to Zimbabwe, His Excellency Zhong Ding, said his country stands ready to deepen bilateral cooperation with Zimbabwe to create more opportunities for women in various sectors.
In support of Zimbabwe's manufacturing sector and women's empowerment, we will focus on 3 priorities. First, scaling up targeted capacity building and professional training programs. Second, encouraging enterprises of both countries to engage in in-depth industrial exchanges and to build business networks. And third, leveraging the zero tariff policy to help more high-quality Zimbabwe manufactured goods enter the Chinese market.
According to the Ministry of Industry and Commerce, the manufacturing sector is currently contributing over 14% to the country's gross domestic product. John Landara, ZBC News, Harare.
From business, we move on to arts news, where government efforts to professionalize Zimbabwe's creative sector are gaining traction, with 67 artists graduating from a financial literacy masterclass aimed at strengthening business and financial management skills within the industry.
The program, spearheaded by the National Arts Council of Zimbabwe, in partnership with the Chartered Accountants Academy, seeks to equip creatives with the knowledge needed to manage finances, run sustainable enterprises, and contribute more effectively to national development. The initiative is part of broader efforts to transform the arts sector into a vibrant economic pillar by empowering artists with skills that extend beyond creativity, to include financial planning, budgeting, and business management. The graduation of the first cohort marks a significant milestone in efforts to formalize and professionalize the sector, preserve culture, create employment, and generate income.
This workshop that we did, the masterclass, you have a different perspective on how you then package your art, how you then sell it to the people, how you come up with a prize. So I think this program is for starters, yakati batsira very well as my creatives around Zimbabwe through the National Arts Council, because when you're meeting with clients, you just don't go, you now generate invoices, you now do, my case sales.
This has really opened our eyes
the Chartered Accountant Academy has done well for us, because I think we are now going to be thinking outside the box.
Empowering creatives to contribute to national development agenda is high on the agenda.
Artists, we believe, they are entrepreneurs, they are business people. But after engaging with the National Arts Council, so many stories about artists that when they hit difficulties in life, they can't pay for their medical bills, and that's why they said maybe to bridge the gap to address the problem, let's bring financial education to these artists.
We've got an abundance of talent. We've got an abundance of gifts that allow us to be creative. But kana taita creative, tameka kamari katne tameka, we tend to have a struggle in terms of taking care of that money, which is saving, investing that money, and growing it, which is something that has led our creatives to constantly be asking for grants and handouts. Let's educate our creatives so that they know how to handle themselves.
Zimbabwe seeks to unlock the full potential of its creative economy. Stakeholders believe empowering artists with financial and business skills will be key to building a professional, sustainable, and competitive creative sector in line with the National Development Strategy 2. Louis Nika, ZBC News, Harare.
Main news is after a break. We will be back with sports news.
This June, step into a bigger entertainment experience with more to love on Us. We're talking more drama, more action, more unforgettable stories, all waiting for you.
All hands on deck.
We're opening up our world of entertainment so you can view more.
Good job, Palmer.
This June, pay for your current DSTV subscription and we'll upgrade you at no extra cost.
Welcome back. We move on to sports news, where young Zimbabwean cricketers have been given an opportunity to further their development after being named in the Zimbabwe A squad for this month's tour of Bangladesh.
Zimbabwe Cricket has selected a blend of established national team players and emerging talent for the Bangladesh A Tour, which comprises 3 one-day matches and 2 4-days. Among the notable names in the touring party are Ren Bell, Innocent Kaya, Wesley Madwere, Vincent Masekesa, and Tadiona Shimarimani. The cricketers have been part of the senior team, but have been in and out of the squad, with the tour a chance to further their development. Upcoming stars Matthew Campbell, Antam Nagvi, Ernest Masuku, and Michael Frost have also earned a selection. Innocent Kaya, Roy Kaya, Marumani and Madwere will feature in the one-day series before making way for Tanunu Romakoni, John Myers, Munashe Chimsoro, and Jonathan Campbell for the 4-day matches. The tour begins with one-day matches before attention shifts to the longer format with the 4-day fixtures scheduled for the Sylhet International Cricket Stadium. Zimbabwe Cricket believes the tour will provide a valuable exposure to the demanding subcontinent conditions and high-level competition. The Zimbabwe A program has traditionally been a crucial bridge between domestic and international cricket, with many of the country's finest players using the platform to gain experience before becoming regular in the senior national team. Lawrence Suseda, ZBC News, Harare.
The Castle Lager Premier Soccer League is heading for another potentially exciting match day with a top-of-the-table clash between defending champions Scotland and surprise package Herentals at Rufaro Stadium this Saturday.
On another day, Scotland up against Herentals is just another PSL fixture on the calendar, but not this season. The students have transformed themselves into genuine title contenders and head into the weekend level on points with Scotland, Hard Rock and Caps United, with only goal difference separating the leading quartet. The Rentals have long been known as a difficult side to play against, but this season they've added a new dimension to their game and are now rubbing shoulders with the league's traditional heavyweights. The students enjoyed an impressive month of May, collecting 12 points, the same tally as Highlanders, but what really caught the eye is their attacking prowess after scoring 11 goals during that period. Leading the charge is Ralph Kaundera, whose 9 goals have made him the league's leading scorer and one of the main reasons behind Herenta's title push. The students will be aiming to extinguish the fire of Maveravera, who are also beginning to find their rhythm and are starting to play the type of football many expected at the beginning of the season. Scotland come into the match as defending champions and boast of some of the finest players in the country. However, Herentals have built a reputation for unsettling the league's biggest sides, and Scotland coach Noel Mapeza will know all about that, having seen his FC Platinum side frustrated by the students on several occasions in the past. The match has all the ingredients of a thriller, and come Saturday, Rufaro Stadium should be buzzing as two of the league's informed teams battle for supremacy at the summit. Action kicks off a day earlier with a low-key encounter between FC Hunters and Blower Chiefs at the Hart Stadium. Saturday also sees Gama taking up Chicken Inn at Wadzanai Stadium, while the Platinum Stars host Moors in another potentially exciting encounter at Baobab Stadium. Tier 1 welcome Highlanders to Ascot Stadium, a venue where the hosts have lost all 8 of their matches this season. Action continues on Sunday with Caps hosting the PC Belfaro Stadium, a Triangle taking on FC Platinum and Gibo, Manika Diamonds welcoming Dynamos at Sakuva, and Hard Rock facing Sibabora at Chawanda Stadium. Lawrence Truseda, ZBC News, Harare.
The World Football Governing Body, FIFA, has introduced a new regulation aimed at curbing one of the most criticized form of modern game management, the use of injury stoppages as tactical time-wasting opportunities. FIFA is tightening rules around what happens when goalkeepers receive treatment on the pitch, with a focus on preserving the natural flow and integrity of matches. The decision is part of a broader reform agenda designed to reduce disruption, limit gamemanship, and ensure that football remains fast-paced and engaging ahead of the 2026 FIFA World Cup that will feature an expanded 48-team format across the United States, Canada, and Mexico. The new restriction does not stand alone. It is part of a wider enforcement strategy by FIFA to address long-standing concerns about time wasting in football. In recent competitions, the World Football Governing Body has already increased added time accuracy, placed stricter controls on goalkeeper ball retention, and encouraged referees to clamp down on unnecessary delays during substitutions and set pieces. And that report takes us to the Mets department.
Hello, welcome. It's time for you with the news. Yesterday, light rain and showers occurred over parts of Masvingo as well as parts of Manicaland, and this was caused by the presence of moisture over the southern and eastern parts of the country. This morning, we had cloudy conditions affecting the western parts of the country, stretching into the Midlands up to Mashonaland East, while the rest of the country enjoyed clear and cold conditions. However, as we headed towards this evening, we are expecting cold conditions throughout the night with clear skies as well. Fluid of moisture is moving further away from Zimbabwe with some brief cloudy periods over Harare as well as Mashonaland East. Tomorrow we're expecting a slight increase in our maximum temperatures as we're expecting clearing over the southern parts of the country. Our fluid of moisture is moving further eastwards out of Zimbabwe. Some brief cloudy periods are still expected over Manicaland area there in Mutare, Gisengo as well as Chipinge districts. We're expecting cold morning conditions for Bulawayo, becoming warm as the day progresses. Mostly sunny conditions. Matopos windy here and there, though it should be cold at first, becoming warm as the day progresses throughout the forecast period. Now, as we move on, Gwanda still in Matabele and South, cold morning conditions are still expected with daytime conditions in the warm category. In the Midlands province, we're expecting mostly sunny conditions. Cold in the morning with warm afternoon conditions. Masvingo, a little bit warmer during the afternoons, though the mornings should remain cold and the evenings. Mutare, warmer by the day, though it should be cold at first and towards the evening. Sunny conditions are expected as we Our field of moisture is moving out of the country. Same applies for Nyanga. Cloud breaks are expected from Wednesday and Thursday, though mornings should be cold and towards the evening. Maronda as well, we're expecting cold morning conditions with warm afternoon conditions. Sunny skies are expected as well. Harare, brief cloudy periods are expected for Wednesday and Thursday, though it should remain cold at first and at night. Kadoma as well, mostly sunny conditions are expected with cool morning conditions and warm afternoons. Chinoi, sunny skies are expected with some brief cloudy periods here and there, though cold in the morning with warm afternoon conditions. Victoria Falls over the western parts of the country, warmer by the day, though it should be cool at first and towards the evening. Lupani, we're expecting cold conditions in the morning, getting warmer as the day progresses throughout the focus period. Same applies for Bindura. We're still expecting some warmer conditions as we're expecting more sunshine. Kariba area, they warmer by the day, though it should be cool in the morning and towards the evening. Thank you for tuning in. That's all weather news. Stay safe and keep updated with the Meteorological Service Department on all your weather news. Good night.
And that's a wrap from the main news team for tonight. Good night.
Runyararo kubatana nebudiriro View number 3 sutoita chisungo Chakavaedza nyika ikagutsikana Chisungo kanganga isutatenderana Vamananga kwatungamira itiende Hakuna dundu richazara Nyika inobakwa nevene vayo Nyika inotungwa nevene vayo